Tim Ferriss's most famous question to his guests is, if you could have a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say and why? Author Tim Urban describes his billboard as a magical one, which would show a member of a group that the viewer was most one-dimensionalizing or dehumanizing in their head, doing something perfectly relatable, like helping their child do their homework or grieving over their parents' deathbed. It would be a glimpse into the life of someone else to increase your understanding of that person. Politics these days is the third rail of our lives. And you'd think between politicians and statisticians and social scientists and climate scientists that we'd come to one conclusion. But we don't have it, do we? We don't have one answer. Cultures across the world have existed, thrived even, with completely different rules for success. Even states across the Great United have complete confidence in their own separate answer, which is different from yours. So Jonathan Haidt wrote an extremely illuminating book, In the Righteous Mind. He explains the fundamental moral principles by which human beings abide, which he calls the moral foundations theory. Each principle came into being because of a biological imperative necessary for the survival and success of our species. But as our species evolved, they don't always make rational sense. For example, the care or harm sensitivity was initially a biological instinct to protect our offspring, but now I can't watch as my child gets stitches. I know that they're being fixed, but I still react as if they're being harmed. And we're all extra sensitive to puppies and cartoons with big eyes when it makes absolutely no evolutionary sense. We all care about fairness and cheating, initially born out of a need to abolish deception and encourage cooperation for the safety of the tribe. And now we extend those feelings to poker games and the broken vending machine. And loyalty was key in order to ensure cohesion of the tribe in times of danger. Now we express it through our sports teams, sweatshirts, and bumper stickers. Our desire to respect authority was born out of a need to maintain order within a tribe, but now you see the authority in the initials before our names. And sanctity was initially born out of the need to avoid dangerous contaminants, diseases, and death. Now we associate sanctity with the treatment of objects such as books or flags and images. As Haidt explains, liberals generally have strong preference towards two of the values, while conservatives generally value each of the values equally. Now please note that I'm always speaking in generalities here. Not everyone is the same. So everyone cares about care and fairness, but liberals often associate fairness with equality, and conservatives associate fairness with proportionality, getting out of it what you would put into it. Liberals tend to be motivated by neophilia, or an attraction to new things, and conservatives tend to be motivated by a neophobia. Therefore, they're attracted to things that are tried and true. So both the left and the right value sanctity, but in different ways. The left tends to lean towards sanctity of the environment with organic, pesticide-free, pollution-free policies. The right tends to lean towards sacredness of the human body, reviling drugs, sex, or anything that might violate the temple of the human body. So how did we come to this? So babies are born with an understanding of harming and helping. As we grow, we begin to watch others and take cues on right and wrong in order to conform, and we develop the ability for abstract thought and rationalization. So just how much is in our nature? In one study, researchers found that identical twins reared in separate households because of adoption turned out very similar on everything from IQ, mental illness, basic personality traits, and where they ended up on the political spectrum, despite their separate upbringings. It turns out one's genes amount to between a third and half of the variability in people's attitudes. A study in Australia analyzing the DNA of 13,000 citizens found that several genes could be actually pinpointed to explain the differences. According to Haidt, conservatives react more strongly than liberals to signs of danger, including the threat of germs and contamination. We can attribute certain dispositional traits, such as seeking new experiences, responsiveness to threats, extroversion, and conscientiousness, to different levels of intensity within the brain. But then you add in characteristic adaptations, such as the experiences we face growing up, like our household's political ideology, or the challenges we might face, the social circles we end up in, and our political tendencies become further fleshed out. Social psychologist Tom Gilovich specializes in the cognitive mechanisms of strange beliefs. He explains that as long as we're able to locate one single shred of evidence to support something we wish to believe in, like the moon is made of cheese because it looks like cheese, we're able to release the pressure from ourselves. And if we read one single shred of pseudo-evidence in support of our political beliefs, not only does it affirm our position, but it causes us to lean even further from our counterparts. We are physiologically incentivized to pick a side and look for evidence to support it. And IQ does not make us more moral. It simply predetermines how well we do when it comes to justifying ourselves. This becomes even more treacherous if we're expecting one person, a sole individual, to make decisions on our behalf. But with the right mix of individuals, with a mix of intellectual and ideological diversity, you'll find more effective and productive policy constructed. So human beings have evolved to have differing opinions, but it's critically important to recognize our similarities. And at the end of the day, our objectives are remarkably similar, and it doesn't take a magical billboard to see it. Morality binds and blinds. It binds us into ideological teams that fight each other as though the fate of the world depended on our side winning each battle. It blinds us to the fact that each team is composed of good people who have something important to say. Thank you for spending time with me today. Please like and subscribe. Be well.